Good afternoon, everyone. So what I'm going to talk about today is going blank. So I'll leave the floor and let everything blank. No, actually, it is something that happens in a fleeting moment that we ignore it. We don't really notice it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share from past experience, from observations, and also from readings of research that have been carried out on the topic. Okay, so let's do an exercise. You've been doing exercises from this morning. Let's do an exercise. Sorry for those who are eating. I give you 1 second, no, let us say a few seconds, just to grab hold of your notepad, okay, and your pen. We are going to do a little task. So while you're getting this, let me put you in the picture. Around the world, we have gone through lockdowns thanks to COVID, okay? And I don't know how many COVID lockdowns there have been in India, but in Mauritius we've had 2. And these 2 lockdowns have allowed many of us to discover talents, such as chef. We have become chefs, isn't it? How many of us have become chefs during the lockdowns? Yeah? Even the young ones. So many of us, we started having dreams. Once this lockdown is over, or even during the lockdown, some people became entrepreneurs. They opened up their business. But let us say for those of us who kept dreaming, we had dreams that once this lockdown is over, I'm opening up my restaurant, or my catering business, or I'm going to have a food truck, isn't it? So here's the thing. It's your lucky day today. Your business plan is ready. You have your business plan. Now all we have to do is to start it. We have to create the visual identity of the business. So here's your task. Create a logo for your restaurant, or your food truck, or your catering business. I will tell you when to stop. You may start. Okay, you may stop. You may stop. So, what happened when I asked you to draw or to create your logo? That fleeting moment that one was looking at me, there was a grin on some people's faces, there were, what is the other one doing? Is the other one already scribbling? Ideas are already coming up from there? What am I supposed to do? That fleeting moment, that one moment where no idea was coming. This is where we went blank. This is where we went blank. Now, so why does this happen? Why does it happen that no idea comes in that moment? And then later, of course, it's going to come back. So from a career spanning over 2 decades in the creative arts, teaching the creative arts, I have noticed that many learners, I've had hundreds of learners, many learners of all ages, teenagers, adults, we all go through that moment when no idea is coming. It is that one moment where we get brain freeze, for example. We don't know what to put on paper. Why we get that? There is a fear. There's a fear of being judged. Whether what I'm going to put on paper, is it the right answer? Is it what I'm expected to do? So, yet, we are the same people. Why I say we, it's because even I go blank, okay? It's a natural happening, but with the young ones, with certain tips that might work, might not work, that I'm going to give you later, we'll see that with the younger learners, slowly, slowly, this will go away. So why? Why does it happen? We'll find out. For example, we are the same people who can have very creative conversations, isn't it? For example, when we are thinking, when we are retelling anecdotes, I'll tell you one. I was in the office of a young lady a week ago, and we were working. It was silent, and I hear the hissing sound of a lizard. You know, you hear the lizard with the sound. And my soul nearly jumps out of my body because I don't like these creatures. I don't like these reptiles. And the young lady, we start to laugh about it, and she starts telling me about the beliefs in India, especially in southern India, regarding these creatures, lizards. And what do? We start to make up stories. We start to make up, what if? Imagine this, imagine that. So I'm sure this has happened to many of you, okay? This has happened to many of you. You tell stories. We can make up jokes. We can make up short stories. We can retell anecdotes full of colors, full of sounds, with all the drama. But when we get a task to do, when we get an assignment, we just freeze. Brain freeze. Why does this happen? Once again, from past experience, I remember I was in grade 1, okay? I was in grade 1, and my father happened to come to fetch me from school. And the first complaint came. First, because I was a naughty kid as well, first complaint that I knew about. So the first complaint came, and the teacher told my father, Lena daydreams a lot. Okay, fine. So I didn't hear this conversation. I saw my teacher and my father having a chat outside. I was proud because I was a good student. On the way back home, my father teasingly asked me, so what do you dream about in class? And I'm like, dream? I'm not even sleeping. How can I be dreaming? And he tried to explain to the small child that I was what daydreaming is. And this started an awareness, but it created an impact on me. The impact was one of shame, of guilt, because I thought, even if I was in grade 1, I thought that I was a very good student. I was always hearing the teacher telling me, it's your turn to read. I was always doing my classwork, my homework, hardly ever any mistakes. We were given homeworks in my days when we were even in grade 1. We were given numbers to write, words to write, and things like that. So to me, how was I going to face that teacher the next day? I was having this guilt. So what happened here is that we can blame teachers. Sorry to say it, I'm a teacher, but we can blame ourselves for instilling this fear, for instilling this guilt and shame in our learners. Do you agree? Yeah? Sometimes we can do it. But did the daydreaming stop? No. Because can you stop breathing? It is as natural as that. It happens as naturally as that. But at least I was becoming aware of my wanderings, and the imagination as well was growing, was becoming fertile. Let's go back to class. Focus. Concentrate. Teachers mainly shout these words, okay? We go blank because someone has shouted this at us in class. You know, when someone starts to daydream, you can see the eyes just go open wide like a goldfish, and that person is lost somewhere, isn't it? And some teachers, I've done it in the past as well, come back here. Come back to the present moment. So what I have observed, again, in classes mainly, is that if the learner is not made to feel guilty about two behaviors, this going blank, this brain freeze can be curbed down. We can start taking it, erasing this from happening. What are these two behaviors? The first one is daydreaming. The second one is doodling. So let us begin with daydreaming. What is daydreaming? Is it that bad? Okay. According to some behavioral researchers, they found out that not all daydreams are related to creativity. Rather, most daydreams are not related to creativity. But there are two types that are. First one, those that are personally meaningful. Personally meaningful in the sense that, for example, you're dreaming about a birthday, your birthday. Whether it happened or it will happen, you're dreaming about it. A new house, a new event in your life, personally meaningful. So this, of course, it is creative because maybe you are planning or maybe you are thinking this could have been done differently, etc. The second type of daydreaming that is associated to creativity is the daydream about fantastical content. Fantastical such as you're dreaming about you being a superhero or a supervillain. It depends. Depends what you want to be in your imagination, okay? And different worlds, the multiverse, someone mentioned the other day. Any universe, Marvel, for example, okay? So these are the two types of daydreams that can be associated with daydreaming, with creativity. So as teachers, like I was saying earlier, as teachers, we know who is in a class. We have an eye on our learners. We know who is mentally here and who has started wandering off on a tangent, triggered by a word that the teacher said, or a sound, or even a breeze, a cool breeze, a warm breeze, it depends. Something has triggered the daydream. So what do? Don't put the guilt or the shame. Rather, we go gently. It has happened here as well. It has happened in the classes with young learners. You go gently to the person, or you call that student, and you say, so what were you seeing? What were you seeing in your dreams? And like I'm saying, it happened during the week, and the boy was like, but I was not dreaming. You see the guilt? But I was not dreaming. I was not lost. I'm saying, it's not wrong. Just see what was in your mind, what was going on there. What colors were you seeing? What words, shapes, what was coming to your mind? So by doing this, you are slowly showing the person that it's okay. Someone earlier said it's okay. It's okay to dream as well. It's okay to cry. It's okay to dream as well. It's okay to become aware of what is going on in our mind, okay? So the thing is not to shout, oi, focus here, is not to make the person feel guilty, not to shame someone, not to instill fear, guilt, or shame. Ask them nicely. So the thing is, this one was on daydreaming. Now let us go to, for example, the second type of behavior that we can use to make someone not go blank. And that is doodling. How many of you know the meaning of doodling? Do you know doodling? So doodling is when you are writing, you're drawing, you can have many different colored of pens. You've seen mind maps, colorful mind maps, okay? So doodles can happen in there. What I normally do is, for example, at the beginning of a brief, of a task, I give printed handouts or digital, because now learners have access to their tablets in class. So while giving the explanation, allow the learners to ask you questions, because one question that this one has asked can be relevant for someone else who is not daring to ask the question, or maybe it's not popped up yet. So allow that learner to ask questions and encourage learners to highlight, to circle, or to make notes, annotations, to make annotations, so that they know that this is the idea. You will know that some kind of generation of ideas has begun. Some experts have said that doodling, some believe that doodling is there to show that people are bored and stressed. But if we go deeper, why do people get bored and stressed? It's because they are not able to put a word out there to ask a question in a meeting, for example. Many of us, even as adults, when we attend a meeting, maybe we are doodling on paper. And the person leading the meeting might think, what a rude person. Or some teachers can say, what are you scribbling over there? We are not realizing, teachers are not realizing that there is a thought process going on. At least the person is not lost in that daydream, which leads to another dream, which leads to something else, not related, not contextualized. So allow them to make these notes, allow them to make this, because there are those other experts that have said that doodling is a sign of intelligence. Doodling is a sign of smart people. There's one who has gone to the extent of saying that doodling is a sign of proactive daydreaming. So you see how these two are related. To conclude, what I'm going to say is to empower our young, beautiful minds to daydream, to doodle, and to let the creative thinking, the creative process begin. Let the ideas come. Encourage learners to ask questions and to make notes in any colors they want. At least you know they are thinking. So dream, daydream, doodle on, but don't go blank. Thank you.